Every direct-to-consumer marketer will agree 10 times over, authenticity is the only thing that's working and delivering in paid social especially. All TikTok is the takeover of authenticity. I've realized how important good content is versus just putting a big name on an ad. You're a basketball player in high school, there's a trainer you're following for tips and drills. You know, what he says is a good product is going to carry more weight than Tracy McGrady, who is clearly getting paid, but, you know, is also still endorsing the product and uses it every day. Just because that trainer is where you get your information, your knowledge, and your drills from, you're more likely to say, okay, you know, what he says is going to help me get better is probably true.
Hello and welcome to D2C Podcast. I'm Eric Dyck. Today we're finding a new spring in our step with VKTRY Gear's Drew Arciuolo. Drew's father invented the VKTRY Insole in 2015 as the world's first carbon fiber performance insole and the only true energy returning insoles on the market. Since then, Drew joined the family business as director of marketing and has overseen a massive growth in revenue profit, not to mention vertical leap. This podcast shows us the path to D2C victory and catches us up on Drew's biggest takeaways from C-Suite Mastermind that he's already implementing from what he learned there. You'll hear why you've probably actually seen VKTRY's viral video but didn't even know it was them, how Drew's thinking about reaching the mothers of athletes with Ryan McKenzie's concept of the child-to-parent customer lifecycle, as well as how Tony Yu's concept of saturation and triggers have changed his paid social strategy. I hope you enjoy this one. On with the show. Wrong size, wrong color, didn't look right in the living room? There are hundreds of reasons your customers return products, but returns don't have to be goodbyes. They can be an opportunity to complete the shopping experience. Built exclusively for Shopify, Loop lets you create a delightful return experience to attract and retain more customers. By making it easy for your customers to find products they love, they'll come back again and again. See why thousands of Shopify brands like Allbirds, Chubbies, and Brooklinen trust Loop as their return partner at loopreturns.com/DTC. Drew, welcome to the D2C podcast. I'm happy to reconnect with you after C-Suite in Victoria. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
It was awesome to connect with you in Victoria. You were one of our hot seats, along with Brian, the podcast that just happened a week ago. So we're really excited to kind of dive back in and see if any of the things that we talked about, you know, that you've been able to implement yet. But first of all, for the audience who didn't get to hang out with you for 2.5 days in Victoria, can you tell me a little bit about why you built VKTRY Gear?
Yeah, sure. So funny enough, actually, my father is the inventor of the product. He's a certified podorthist. So what that means is he creates custom orthotics, and he specializes in the biomechanics of the foot, and was asked actually back in 2005 to help the Olympic bobsled team up in Lake Placid, New York, with their orthotics so they could have more arch support, comfort, and stability, coming off the blocks. But they had actually asked him, is there any way you can help us run faster? The first 40 steps of this race are the most crucial part of the race. You know, what can you do for us to help us run faster? And he had been tinkering with carbon fiber at the time and carbon fiber prosthetics and all this stuff. And, he's just a tinkerer. He's a kind of a genius in that way. He's a savant, we call him. But he decided to put carbon fiber underneath their orthotics. And sure enough, in 2010 Olympics, they won gold for the first time in over 60 years. So I think that's when he realized, him and my mom, they realized they have a special product, and started the company about around 2015. And it's been a family business since, and now we're growing it. We have a CEO and a board and investors. So it's grown and become quite the entity at this point.
And how long have you been the director of marketing for?
My title changed probably about 8 months ago, but we actually it's been a void that's been needed to be filled for over 1.5 years. So I've really taken up the role that I'm in now about 1.5 years ago, maybe a little longer than that.
Can you describe the positioning that you have with VKTRY Gear and like the brand market positioning?
Yeah, it's really unique. We've kind of paved our own industry, performance insoles, right? A lot of people, when they think of insoles, they think of foam or plastic, Dr. Scholl's, Superfeet, whatever, arch support. Very stagnant and supportive industry. It's been the same for decades. So we've paved a new industry of carbon fiber performance insoles and energy returning insoles that are dynamic and provide more out of what you put in. So it's a unique position. There's no one else doing what we're doing, so we're kind of educating along the way. We're also 70% of our customers have never worn insoles before or bought insoles over the counter or anything. So we're bringing people into the market, which is exciting. But, we also have to justify a higher price point and completely different value props along the way.
What is the price point of the product?
Yes. So we have the gold insole, which is made of full-length aerospace grade carbon fiber and personalized to your sport and weight. That is $169 US. And then our silver insoles, which is a carbon fiber blend, less personalized to the person wearing them, they retail for $99.
Very cool. How did you guys arrive? I guess this probably happened before you came around if it was in 2015, but how was the price point arrived at?
It's well, first of all, it's carbon fiber. It's pre-preg aerospace grade carbon fiber, so not cheap to manufacture, of course. So carbon fiber in itself is an expensive material, but there's also certainly a stigma around carbon fiber, and people understand that carbon fiber isn't cheap, and what the insole provides is pretty special, not only in just performance but also in injury protection, support, stability. There's a lot that the insole provides for you. We knew that if we can educate all of that, that people would be able to elevate their standards for their insoles and meet us at that price point. And we've actually lowered our prices. We were at $199 up until this year. This is our first year at $169. We were able to get our cost of goods down and we're able to pass on those savings to the consumer.
Out of curiosity, how did that work? Did your conversion rates go up?
Funny enough, it did, but it's unfair for me to say it's apples to apples because we did reduce our ad spend this year. So of course, we're bringing less people in. The conversion rate rises up. So it's hard for us to say how much was due to price, but conversion rate is certainly up this year. So no arguing that.
What has been the biggest lever for growth this year?
Yeah, really identifying one audience. I think in years past, we were trying to be a product for every athlete. And, our silos were by sport and we had done a decent job with messaging. But what we really did this year to get our consumer acquisition costs down was, hey, let's start with a certain message, find out what message works and what audience is attracted to that message, and then build around that. And so this year we worked with our media buying agency to figure out, plain and simple, jump higher is an attractive value prop to athletes. Now, what athletes are attracted to that? Well, of course, volleyball, basketball to start. There's football players who are interested, track runners. So it was really just figuring out the messaging, what audience was resonating with it, and then kind of honing in there with our marketing dollars.
Very cool. Soccer players, they got to head that ball. They want to be above the other heads when they're heading the ball as well. Don't forget, soccer is growing.
Soccer's a big market for us. I failed to mention that, but soccer's a big one too.
Very cool. And so really just drilling in on those avatars with the creative, correct?
Yep, absolutely. And also, something we weren't really doing very well in the past was landing page optimization or conversion rate optimization as well. So we were showing decent ads. We had a wonderful library of UGC and I'd say a pretty diverse group of avatars, but the landing pages just didn't speak to who was coming to the page. And as a result, conversion was hurting. So it was kind of carrying over, those well-performing avatars and putting them on the landing pages as well.
Not separating though, probably not. You're not separating basketball from football from hockey, or not hockey, but from other foot-based sports.
No. It's we're still speaking to those sports. Of course, we still in Google Shopping. If you come in from a basketball search term, you're going to go to a basketball landing page. But with paid, in terms of paid media, paid social in particular, if you're just looking to jump higher or run faster, you're going to find the messaging for you that, you want to see.
So funnel continuity works. Exactly.
Go figure.
Nice. Back to the basics. So I'm just curious. So we, having you on the hot seat there, we talked a little bit. One of the biggest challenges you mentioned was about who buys your product quite often, and your media message hitting one audience on socials in some cases. So a lot of younger teens and Gen Z and millennials, all that. But in a lot of cases, it's often it's moms who buy these products or parents who buy these products. Have you had any success in kind of reaching more into the household budget holders?
Yeah, it's a topic that goes on in that gets covered in every marketing meeting. Is who is incentivizing the purchase? Is it mom and dad who are looking out for the child's, injury protection? Of course, they want to see them elevate their performance, but they're certainly more interested in keeping their child on the field and safe. Whereas the kid is usually interested in the performance aspect, running faster, jumping higher, and the way we've kind of figured out, and I would say CPA has been the leading indicator for this. What's exciting to the kids is going to catch on. Of course, we are always going to focus messaging on the parents, the purchaser. But the kids and with our organic social media, they're the ones interacting with our posts. Our shoe flip video in particular, which has been viewed almost 100 million times across all channels. So, excitement first, right? And Ryan McKenzie actually said this at Hot Seat is build excitement first to a child, like it's a child, and then justify the purchase when they graduate to an adult. And then, hit them with the 90-day money-back guarantee as a parent, right? So it's kind of curating that. So it's excitement first with, fun videos of people jumping higher and shoes flying in the air. And then when the parents come to the website, they see that this is a responsible purchase to make for their child and an investment really in their child, right?
Really, I really like that. And it's good bringing up the consumer life cycle that Ryan spoke about at C-Suite. Describe a little bit about that viral video you mentioned, because I think that's worth. It's funny because I think there were several people in the audience, myself included, who'd actually seen this viral video on TikTok before meeting you.
Sure. Yeah. So anyone that hasn't seen or isn't familiar with it, I'll pin it on our TikTok at Team VKTRY. It's been viewed a few million times on TikTok alone, but it's actually my dad on a football field. And he's actually just sitting there on his knees, and you see him bend his shoe and nothing happens to the shoe. And then he takes the VKTRY Insole, he puts it in the shoe, he bends it again with a lot of force, but still bending it to kind of demonstrate a foot bending before running or jumping. It flies up and it hits the goalpost. So it shoots up, 10 plus feet in the air. It's just a really exciting, eye-catching demonstration that has really helped the brand take off. And it's a really simple way to just demonstrate how exciting our product is. So yeah, it's funny you say that, you had seen it, but you weren't familiar with the brand, you and other people in the audience at the time. So the one problem with that video back in 2019 was it had been viewed, 80 million times plus, but no one had really resonated with the brand. No one kind of knew the VKTRY video. They knew the shoe flip video. So we learned our lesson there. It wasn't a horrible lesson to learn. But we started putting our logo pretty prominently everywhere else after. I think some people said we should have had an end card. But who knows at this point? Hindsight's 2020.
It's just interesting because I saw it and it's like people saw it more as entertainment value, but I don't know that I even connected that A, it was a product, or B, that my current shoes, I guess it does because it shows you what your current shoes are doing. It does show that there is this better option. So at least you're seeding the idea that, whoa, maybe I should be trying to return more energy to my step.
Yeah, you're spot on. And really the beauty of TikTok, especially, which is where most of our organic traffic is coming in now. The beauty of that is you can surround that video, which is fun and actually usually will have like trending audios and, a certain text, but you can surround that with other videos of people, in the comments, other people trying the product and showing you that it's a real product. It does help you jump higher. It's backed by science, worn by top professional athletes. So you can really surround these entertaining videos, like you say, that you're just kind of like, wow, that's really cool. Maybe at the time you're not thinking of the what or the why. You can, surround it. You really put your whole social ecosystem around that with, all your UGC and polished videos.
Very cool. So, and it must be interesting, you're in a space where you have a lot of influencers naturally built in, sporting influencers. I guess there's certain limitations on college influencers and things like that. But what's been the most successful thing you've done with influencers with the brand?
Sure. So, it's bifold. We have our credible, well-known athletes, that we can put on our website and in advertising that are, the big names in football, the big names in basketball. Like I mentioned to you, Tracy McGrady is an endorser of the product, or Jonathan Taylor, Julio Rodriguez, these big names that kids can see and they say, okay, like they're endorsing it, it has to be a real product. But I would say that's only maybe 30% of the formula. The other 70% is, the content creators. And I've realized how important good content is versus just putting a big name on an ad, You look at, you're a basketball player in high school. There's a trainer on basketball that you're following for tips and drills. What he says is a good product is going to carry more weight than Tracy McGrady, who is clearly getting paid, but is also still endorsing the product and uses it every day. But just because that trainer is where you get your information, your knowledge, and your drills from, you're more likely to say, okay, what he says is going to help me get better is probably true. So we've definitely really invested in that area the last few years.
It's a really interesting point too. It's funny, and I just saw a TikTok on it was a post about social media and the flip about influencers that's happening between millennials and Gen Z, where a Gen Z can just smell that inauthenticity that's just the celebrity without the story, and that there is this real flip to where the real story, the real authenticity matters way more than whether you're a Kardashian or even a pro athlete if it's not that raw authenticity.
I think every marketer, every direct-to-consumer marketer will agree 10 times over that authenticity is the only thing that's working and delivering in paid social, especially. Someone actually just in a meeting maybe last week was like, all TikTok is the takeover of authenticity and real people doing, real things. You see interactions that you wouldn't have. You see people, going on the street and saying, like, are you happy? Right. And it's just like really raw emotional things, interactions that happen every day. TikTok is just delivering you that content versus like, I think people were a little over inundated on Instagram and Facebook with the celebrity they see on TV pushing another product on them or looking like their life is perfect in Milan. Right. It's really just the takeover of authenticity.
iOS 14.5. The infamous Apple update left D2C brands struggling to find and market to the right audiences. That's why hundreds of D2C brands are turning to Black Crow AI to boost their holiday marketing. Their plug-and-play machine learning technology measures in real time every visitor's likelihood to buy. You can then use these predictions to build predictive audiences for retargeting and prospecting. In short, Black Crow AI can significantly boost ROAS by helping you specifically target people who will actually want to buy from you. Find out why brands like Magic Spoon, Barabee, and Liquid IV are using Black Crow AI to supercharge their holiday marketing efforts. Visit blackcrow.ai/DTC to request a 30-day free trial.
So you mentioned UGC. You mentioned authenticity being the currency when it comes to creative. But when you've got a product that's like a category creator that has this really high price point, what does your creative mix look like in order to achieve that education? Is it mostly UGC at this point? Do you also have like educational landing pages? Like how does that actually work?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. The content that you see as your first impression of the brand is exciting, and it's bold, and it's probably, I would imagine, if I was on the flip side, I would say unbelievable. It's like almost too good to be true. And that, I think we understand that's the first step toward a purchase, and it's totally fine to be skeptical. Anything, if you go to our website, on any page, you will find, user reviews, user generated content, blogs, PR. I think just the best practices that you hear every day, are really important for us, because we're not selling a new shirt, a comfortable shirt. We're not selling, something that's been around for decades and is a consumer staple. We're selling something that is again, unbelievable. And so, like you said, a lot of our content has to be not from us. It has to be from real people. And actually, it's the best performing content we have is people's reaction immediately after they try the product for the first time. The eyes popping, and you see them like bounce up and down like this because they're just feeling more bouncy. Getting that reaction, getting that raw emotion is, I think, the key to having someone understand that this product is what it claims to be.
I could see, we talked about it on day 3, but the Pilot House third-party branding method. I could imagine down, as you grow, potentially having other performance athletic sites review you and putting out that content as well. But that idea of using a landing page that was more of a third-party brand could be interesting as well.
Yeah. No, we're eager to try that.
Very cool. You mentioned earlier that that you think of the way you think about how you're going to grow has a lot to do with just expanding the brand awareness. You put an estimate of around you have about 5% penetration in your target markets in terms of brand awareness. What are your biggest ideas for increasing market share brand awareness?
Yeah. Tony Yu from Vessi really inspired me to find the formula for scaling, or at least take a crack at this formula for scaling. But creating that social flywheel and word of mouth, and initiating word of mouth marketing, incentivizing word of mouth marketing is the plan. I think 3 months ago I would have told you just putting more money into Meta or TikTok is the way, but the ideas we're putting into place now, the goal of them is to own mind share when people think about performing better. And it's much easier said than done, but every basketball player, every football player, every soccer player in the world should be wearing our insoles, because they're objectively better for your performance and injury protection. So if we can surround their social groups with mostly influencers and credible third-party brand reviews, they're going to say, okay, these insoles are everywhere. Everyone's wearing these. They have an advantage over me, quote unquote. Okay, I need a pair. I need to try them for myself. So I see that as finding ways to get people to talk about our product and share our product. And it started with as simple as just putting a share button in our cart, and before purchase, like we're seeing a lot of people sharing that they have our product in their cart.
Yeah.
And
like, you guys are in trouble now. You're all in trouble now.
Yeah.
I got these.
Yeah, exactly. And playing into that these are a competitive advantage. And, I put up an ad or a TikTok that was like, athletes, should these be banned? And it got crazy traction because it just plays into that emotion of like, we know it's a, people argue about whether our product should be legal or not, which it is legal and should be legal, but we know that plays into their emotions a little bit, and it creates dialogue, and that dialogue is what we need to have. I think it's something like 70% of dialogue still happens off the internet, and so it's like, how do you take advantage of that? How do you get your product, and what I've learned, especially from Tony, but from other people as well, is triggers. And so one way that we're creating triggers is we're starting to review shoes. And like, for example, we just posted a review of Crocs based on how high they flip with our insoles in them. And so next time someone sees a pair of Crocs, I want them to say, did you see that company that flipped a pair of Crocs 70 inches in the air, or 5 feet in the air, 6 feet in the air? And, that's my goal, is to, like, how do I create triggers for people to start talking about our product? And that's a challenge, but it's a fun challenge.
Tony spoke about owning the rain, right? When it rains in the West Coast, you think about your dry feet you get with your Vessis. Super interesting. I'm really glad you brought Crocs into it, because of the other person who came who had a DJ name, which was DJ Sport Mode, which was so she's branded now. Every single time I put my Sport Mode on in my Crocs, I think of her, and so she has triggered me in that way as well. So
I love it.
The circle of triggering continues.
Those triggers, man, And another point is, like, someone had said, make it a social currency to talk about your product. Make it seem like you're in the know when you talk about your product. And so how do you get people to say, like, to talk about your product and make it look good for themselves, right? And because no one wants to be the death of the party. Everyone wants to be the life of the party. And so how do you translate your product into being the life of the party's conversation topic? And so I don't think I have the answer to that, but I think it's something to work toward.
And you also have the FOMO thing going for you, right? Because it's like, they're literally performance enhancing. It's a legal performance enhancing product. So it's like, does he have them? Does he have them? Like, if you don't have them, you're missing out potentially.
You're spot on. Yep.
Super cool. It's funny. I was thinking about, like, the way you build up from the insole. Maybe eventually you build a shoe. If you can do it quick enough, I hear Adidas has an opening.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I mean, we're worried about the insole part right now, but of course, we've talked about the sneaker part, and make it a complete VKTRY shoe or powered by VKTRY. It's certainly down the line it could be a conversation, but right now it's like, let's just replace everyone's foam insoles in their shoes.
I love it. Well, maybe your dad can continue to tinker on all sides there.
He's tinkering with anything and everything, shoes, insoles, footwear.
Very cool. I was just looking back on your LinkedIn here, and was just looking at, like, your athletic background. I can tell you're an athletic person, obviously. But, like, to what degree are you still involved in athletics, and how has athletics shaped your entrepreneurial career, besides providing the subject matter?
Sure. Yeah. So I was a Division I baseball player here in Connecticut at a small school called Fairfield University. It was, an awesome experience. We were a competitive program. Sports were my life growing up. I was, I identified with sports, and Rob Fraser from Outway said the same thing with him in cycling is, your identity is your sport. And so it certainly is awesome in terms of, building a routine and being super competitive and all the cliches you hear about athletes when it translates to business. I think I benefit from all of that. But the problem is, you also, like, once it's over and I was unable to get that professional opportunity that I was hopeful for my whole life, you kind of are like, okay, now what? I've been, so focused on this sport for so long and perfecting this craft, and now it's, like, gone. And of course I don't regret a single part of that, but now you're, like, kind of left, you didn't have any internships because you were playing all summer in between years at school, and it's tough. And so this has allowed me to, not only do I identify with our consumer so well, it's like, I know exactly what these kids are going through, and I can speak their language, which is, I think, crucial to me being the one that's interacting with them at all these content opportunities and especially just over Instagram DMs. I'm the one talking with all the athletes. I'm so close to the consumer, I think, because I've identified with them so long. But also, I've been able to take, what I wanted as an athlete and put it into our marketing. I wanted so much of that competitive advantage and to perfect my performance, because, your body can only take you so far, right? Workouts are great and crucial, but it's also like, what's the gear, and it's like, the way I look at our insoles now with athletes is, and I use this reference at C-Suite, imagine a hockey player without a carbon fiber hockey stick. If you could be the best hockey player, but if you still have that wood stick, you may still be one of the best hockey players. Like, I'd imagine that Ovechkin with a wood hockey stick is still Ovechkin, but you need that, you just need the better technology to compete. And so our insoles are no different than a wood or a carbon fiber hockey stick versus a wood hockey stick. So that's where my mind goes. And it certainly translates to a lot of our marketing efforts.
Got to become ubiquitous, just become the obvious choice, right? We could look back and just shudder at the think we used to waste so much energy transfer with every footfall.
Exactly.
You were talking about this in the pre-interview, but what was the biggest challenge when you returned home from attending C-Suite?
Prioritizing. There was just so many ideas. I spoke with so many really smart people who had so many amazing ideas. It was like, I was literally, we'd be getting drinks after Mastermind, and someone would come up to me and be like, hey, I actually have like a couple ideas. I would run and grab my notebook and I would just start writing, their ideas that they had for our brand. So prioritizing and coming back to my team, I had a presentation for our team, and here's what we should be doing, and here's the way we should be looking at things, and here's how we can delegate the work to reach this goal. So I learned a lot in terms of not only what I was going to be doing, but also how I was going to be implementing these new ideas and strategies. So this has been a great experience, not only, just meeting everyone, but also how I can better prioritize and delegate.
I love it. And the ongoing community. I'm just love we got the little chat up going when people just troubleshooting ideas. It's just been a really rewarding community to build, and I can't wait to keep bringing people like you to Victoria and all around the world. But I got one last question. I'm curious where you're at with it now. If we were to give you $50,000 for your marketing budget, where would you, even like heading into Q4, where would you be putting it to see the biggest impact?
I wanted to say influencers, because I am really bullish on like the right influencer speaking to your product with the right audience and the right content. I think there's few things more powerful than that. I would give it to the best creative agency I could find. I would hand them about maybe 50 hours of raw footage from our video shoots these last 4 years. And I would tell them to go find the gold, go find the interactions and the stuff in between the juicy parts where we're talking about how great these insoles are. Find me the little parts in between where people are making funny comments, and there's just the things that are going to go viral on organic TikTok that people want to see, and organic reels. I would give it to someone who knows how to find those interactions that are special on social media.
That right there is the magic. That really is that secret sauce of finding those things. There's so many things you'll watch on TikTok and be like, why the hell did I even just watch that? Like, you don't even know what it was, but it has 200,000 views, but it has some kind of authenticity that isn't immediately understandable. And then there's that ability to frame that stuff into memes and into trends and into soundtracks and kind of things like that. And I think that would be a really valuable use with all of this investment that you've already made into this footage.
Yeah, no, you're spot on. I mean, there's a reason that videos of people just walking up to strangers in New York City or LA or whatever city are just going viral, because people just want to see what the people they walk by every day are like, and what they think like, and how they speak, and, their perspective on life. It's just, again, like you said, it's just finding authenticity in day-to-day interactions that people want to see. So Yeah, if I had $50,000, I'd tell someone to go find all of that in our Dropbox because, again, there is so much that is just untapped and is probably incredibly valuable to our brand.
Well, I have migrated these insoles to my ball hockey shoes and can confirm that I have an increased spring in my step and a good another 10 kilometers on my slap shot. So that's pretty awesome. Thanks for the pair.
Perfect. Yeah, you got it, man. Enjoy, and let me know if you need another one.
Real quick, I know you're on some, do you have, if anyone in our audience wanted to reach out, do you have a social media handle you'd like to drop?
Sure. So you can reach me personally on Twitter at Drew Arciuolo, Drew Arciuolo. It'll probably be spelled out on the title of this, but and then you can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at Team VKTRY, VKTRY. You can reach out to any of the DMs there. I'm the guy on them, so I'll get back to you as soon as I can.
Nice, Drew. This was awesome. We'll catch you again soon. Maybe at our next mastermind.
Sounds good. I'm planning on it. Thank you for having me, Eric. Seriously, this was awesome. A lot of fun.
Thanks so much for listening to today's episode. If you're not a subscriber to our newsletter, you can do that right now at direct-to-consumer, all one word, .co. I'm Eric Dyck, and this has been the D2C Podcast. We'll see you next time.